Hi, algebra students. Welcome back. Happy Thursday. Here's your entry task. Today's Flipgrid question is at that link. It is one that a student requested. It is roast Mrs. Dodge. So I am very curious to see what y'all come up with. Yeah, take your best shot. You've already found the YouTube lesson if you are here. Please pause the video and try this problem in your notes, then unpause it to do it with me. Okay, let's jump into it. So, if I have all of this equals 0. The equals 0 is the key part here because we remember our zero product property that states that if multiple things are being multiplied together and they equal 0, one of these things needs to be equal to 0. So, we have d minus 2 equals 0, or we have d plus 6 equals 0, or we have d plus 8 equals 0. All of these are options. And now we're just gonna solve each one. If I add 2 to both sides, get d equals 2. I subtract 6 from both sides, get d equals negative 6. And if I subtract 8 from both sides, I get d equals negative 8. Could you also just look over here and say what number does d have to be to make that 0? This is positive 8, so d is negative 8? Yes. Yes, you can also do that. If you don't show me your work on a quiz or a test, and you get it wrong, if you just write d equals 4 and with no work to back it up, I'm gonna be like, no, and I don't know what you're doing, so I can't give you partial credit if you guess and you get it wrong. If you don't show your work and you get it wrong, I can't give you partial. So please show your work. I will be greatly appreciative of that. Alrighty. That is the entry task problem. Alright, moving on for today. Today, your learning target and success criteria are: I know what quadratics are, and I can factor quadratics of the form x squared plus bx plus c and x squared minus bx plus c. Ooh, it sounds scary. Don't worry about it. It's not as scary as it might seem. So the first thing you need to know is this. Please pause the video and write this down and then unpause it so that we can talk about it. This, or anything actually, anything that involves x squared is a quadratic. X squared is a quadratic. When it's just x, that's linear. And when it's x squared, we call that a quadratic. So, this is a quadratic. So when c is positive, so an example of this might look something like this. So c is the number that has no x attached to it. It's just a number. When we talk about c in this case, we're talking about the one that's just a number. So 5 here. So if c is positive, if that number on the end of this quadratic is positive, that means that both of the factors are going to have the same sign. So if I have x squared plus 6 plus 5, the 1 and the 5 are both positive. And if I have x squared minus 6x, the 1 and the 5 are both negative. Now this might be really confusing right now, and I know, it's okay. We're going to do more examples. But I just want you to see that when this is plus and this is plus, we have 2 plus. And when this is plus but this is minus, we have 2 minuses. So I just want you to see that and have that in your mind while we go through the examples. So make sure that that red box is in your notes, and let's jump right into the examples. Okay. So, I'm going to factor when b and c are positive. Because they're both positive, I know that that means my factors are going to be positive as well. So I'm going to get x plus something times x plus something. That's what I'm going to end up with in the end. So, in fact, let's write that over here. Let's write that right over here. We're going to have x plus something times x plus something. How do I figure out what those two somethings are? How did they figure out up here that they needed 5 and 1? How did they figure out these numbers? This is the key to that. In fact, let's color code here so that when you're looking at it later, you know what's going on. These numbers. How did they figure out these numbers? This is how they did it. We need these two numbers. So these two numbers that we get need to add up to equal b. And they need to multiply together to give me c. That is confusing when we just say it out loud, so let's see it in action. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna draw a big X, because we have x squared here. And so I need two numbers that add together to give me 10, the middle number. The middle number needs to add to get 10. And the last number, they need to multiply to give me 16. So what numbers can I multiply together to get 16? What are even the options here? What are the factors of 16? Well, 1 times 16 is 16. So 1 and 16 are factors. Let's see, 2 times 8 are factors, and 4 times 4 are factors. Okay, so the next thing I need to ask is if I add 1 and 16, I get 17. 17 is not the same as 10, so this is not gonna work. If I add 2 and 8 together, I get 10, and oh, look at that, 10 is what I wanted. Fantastic. So, I know that the two numbers that go in here have to be 2 and 8. So x plus 2 and x plus 8. Now, if you want to check and make sure that we were correct, that is a good idea. So let's check over here. X plus 2 times x plus 8. We're going to check just by foiling. So first, x times x. Outside, x times 8 is 8x. Inside, 2 times x. And last, 2 times 8 is 16. And when I put these together, I get, whoop, look at that. I get the same thing that I started with. So, whoops, that's supposed to be a check. So we're good. It works out. Alright, we went a little fast through that, so let me say it again to make sure that we are all on the same page. I wanted two numbers. I want two numbers that add to give me 10 and that multiply to give me 16. To figure out what those two numbers were, I figured out what all the factors of 16 are. In fact, let's write that down. These are factors, all the factors of 16. And then we're just going to add them up and see which ones can equal 10. And it turned out that these two could equal 10. Because we needed both of these things. We need them to multiply to 16. We also need them to add to 10. Beautiful. Awesome. If that is still confusing, don't worry. We're going to do another example. First, let's check our answer. Yep, beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. X plus 2, x plus 8. Awesome. Okay. Our next example is a tiny bit different. The only thing that's different is that I have a minus here. So B is negative, C is positive. So the only thing that changes is in the end, I'm going to end up with x minus something and x minus something. So that's the only thing that changes. Was in the first example, I had x plus something. Now I just have x minus something. That's the only thing that changes. Because this 12 is positive, I know that both of these are going to be negative. Awesome, awesome. Okay, let's make our x again. Our x again, and I'm going to put b up here. I'm going to put -8 up here. So I need to add to get -8, and I need to multiply to get 12. Remember, multiply to get this one and add to get this one, always. So now I'm just going to go through and I'm going to see what are the factors. Hey, I wanted blue. What are the factors of 12? Let's see. I know 1 times 12 is 12. But if I, oh, whoops, subtract. They subtract up here. I want to subtract them to get -8. Oh, wait, no. That's okay. We can have add there, and we'll just make both of these negative. So -1 and -12. If I multiply -1 and -12, I will still get positive 12. But if I add these together, I get -13. That's not what I want, so that one's not gonna work. Let's see. I also know that -2 and -6 are factors of 12, and if I add them together, I get -8, and oh, hey, that's what I wanted. So -2 and -6 are the numbers, so x minus 2 and x minus 6 is what I should have in the end. And let's just double check. Check our answer by foiling this out again. So first, outside, inside, last, combine like terms. Ooh. Would you look at that? Yep. Works out good. Alright, so recap. Add together to give me -8. Multiply together to give me 12. So I list the factors of 12. What things multiplied together give me 12, since the numbers that I need right here and the numbers I need right here have to multiply to give me 12. So I'm listing out all the numbers that multiplied together give me 12. Then I'm just seeing which ones add together to give me the -8 that I wanted. Awesome, awesome. Let's check that we were correct. Yes. We were indeed correct. Wonderful. And then, yup, look at that. We check using the FOIL method. Awesome. Okay. If you have questions, which I know some of you do, so if you have questions, please tune in to Mrs. Dodge's live stream every day from 12 to 2. Today, Mr. Dodge and I are going to be playing Rocket League. Of course, you can still ask your questions, and I will drop what we're doing to answer those questions. But also, we'll be playing Rocket League in case you want to swing by and hang out, chat, do something that's not math for a minute. Yeah, it'll be a good time. It'll be a very good time. Your homework looks like this. The more practice you get with this, the more comfortable you get with it. So that's why there are so many questions here for your practice, or for your homework. So I'd encourage you to try them all, because the more comfortable you are, the more you do it, the more comfortable you get. So 6 problems just like the first one, 6 problems like the second one. Not too bad though. And last is your launch for today. So your launch comes from Zig Ziglar. And what he says is, what you get by achieving your goals is not as important as what you become by achieving your goals. Think about that. What you get is not as important as what you become. So the example I like to use when I think about this is, for me, a goal is to get a house. And getting that house is not as important as the hard work it took to get that house. Because the house is important, don't get me wrong, the house is important, and I'll be very happy when I get one. But the hard work that it takes to get a house is what's going to sustain me being able to pay my mortgage on that house. If I don't pay attention to how important my work ethic is, and I just stop working hard, I'm not going to have the money that I need to pay for that mortgage and to pay for that house once I get it. So, not the most relatable example, but what you become is always more important than what you get. Material things are never as important as who you are as a human being. So, that is my launch for you today. Take it with you as you go throughout your day. Thanks for tuning in. If you have questions, please email me, comment on this YouTube video, or tune into my live stream at noon today. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.